Good morning, everyone, to Wedgwood Community Church. It is Sunday, August 1st. It's so wonderful to see all of your faces. We're going to go ahead and get started with today's announcements. Next Sunday, Patrice Gaines, author of Laughing in the Dark, From Colored Girl to Woman of Color, A Journey from Prison to Power, will be speaking. It's going to be a real treat. I'm so looking forward to today's talk as well as next week's talk. Patrice has joined the Social Justice Book Club, and I believe they've been studying her book. So it's going to be a really special Sunday, so you don't want to miss out. And we have a new community garden. Yesterday was our third Sunday working at the garden. Park Road Baptist Church, right down the road, has so graciously given us beds 13 and 14 to grow some food that will go to the community food pantry. The top picture you can see is where we started 3 weeks ago, and the bottom picture is from yesterday. So we've got all sorts of plans. Yeah, Thomas and I have really gotten stuck in, as well as a guy named Nick from the food pantry. He's come and helped out, and we've got everything planted right now. Now it's just a matter of watering it regularly and pulling some weeds. So if anyone, maybe has, 10 minutes during the week, they want to pop over and get some sunshine and get their hands in the soil and be in nature and wouldn't mind coming out and weeding those 2 beds and watering them, just let us know. We would definitely appreciate it. And did you know that Wedgwood has a blog? We do, on our website, and several members today have actually contributed to the blog either through poetry, sharing their personal story, sharing a message. So we would love to hear your gifts and share them on the blog. So if you have something that you would like to publish on our blog, just let us know at wedgwood.church@yahoo.com, and we'd love to share your voice with the world on our website. The Interfaith Celebration for Charlotte Pride is back this year, which is very exciting. It's been a year of a lot of challenges. Last year, I don't think we did anything for Pride, really. But Sunday, September 12th at 4 o'clock, so mark your calendars, is going to be the Interfaith Celebration. It will be held in person. I believe they're also going to be streaming it over Zoom or Facebook Live. I'm not quite sure, but I believe they're also going to be streaming it. It's going to be at St. Luke's Missionary Baptist Church, 1600 Norris Avenue in Charlotte. But something that's really exciting about this service is there will be the first ever Charlotte Pride Interfaith Choir. Really, really cool. So if you'd like to participate in that, let us know. Wedgwood is going to be there physically at the Interfaith celebrations. We'd love to have members representing us. If you feel so comfortable, triple mask up, I will be there. And then after the Interfaith celebration, they're going to have a small Interfaith festival at the church, and Wedgwood has reserved a booth. So if you would like to come and, represent Wedgwood and tell people about, why you like Wedgwood, that would be great, because I think it's really important to hear a lot of different voices. So just let us know. Then on Thursday, August 5th at 7 p.m., the Social Justice Book Club at Wedgwood will continue reading Caste by Isabel Wilkerson. The Social Justice Committee will meet on Tuesday, August 17th at 6:30. And the Children and Youth Committee will actually meet today at 7 p.m. Project Outpour, we continue to work with First Christian Church at East Boulevard. If you would like to sign up for a shift to greet clients using their free shower access, please check the newsletter. The form is linked in the newsletter. And then also the Queen City Assisted Living Adopt-a-Resident program. Please reach out to Travis Friat at the email listed. He's a Wedgwoodian and he's in charge of that program. And then we also have our sandwich program that we partner with the Charlotte Atheists and Agnostics for. Their monthly distribution to the homeless is next Saturday, August 7th at 9 a.m. Please let me or Melba know that you plan on going so that we can give you the contact number of the person who's organizing it, because they meet at a storage unit but they don't meet out front. They meet at their actual unit. So if you go to the front, you're not going to see them. So that's why let us know so we can give you the person's contact number so they can know to expect you. And then our food pantry, we continue to need donations. We are definitely seeing an uptick in people coming every week to need services and to need food. We're not out of the woods. People are really struggling, and anything that folks can do to help, be it donating the goods listed, or volunteering, or helping to spread the word out. Any and all help is appreciated. And then church giving, we need your regular financial support. You can mail your offering to Wedgwood Community Church at P.O. Box 18912, Charlotte, North Carolina 28218. You can also text the number and enter the amount with or without a $sign. You can Venmo us, you can do PayPal and Zelle. And also connect with us. We're on Instagram. We're also on Facebook. We have a very lively Facebook group. We have our website. You can read about our blog, about all the different stuff that we do. And you can also email us at wedgwood.church@yahoo.com, or you can call or text us. Does anyone else have any announcements?
Do you have any announcements?
Okay. Well, next up, we have our prelude. And next up, we have our extravagant welcome.
We are all welcome here.
Welcome to a church that works for peace, justice, equality, and the care of Mother Earth.
An extravagant welcome to you because of your gender identification, sexual orientation, ethnicity, economic situation, physical and mental challenges, doubting or believing, being depressed or full of joy.
We are a community of curious and creative spiritual seekers, striving to learn and embody the way of Jesus and other spiritual leaders.
Like Jesus, we focus on the plundered and the marginalized as we try to address the major issues of our day.
One of the ways we seek to heal the world and ourselves is through sharing parts of our personal story. We are all welcome here.
That was the closest we've ever gotten, and that was good. Awesome. We've been practicing, y'all. All right, so next up for our children's moment, we are going to hear a read aloud book encouraging positive thinking. All right, and now we have come to our time of prayer, meditation, and reflection. So if anybody has any prayer requests or celebrations, anything you want to lift up, you can share with each other today.
Well,
my cat has a lot of them too. He's decided to join us this morning.
Well, I just want to share that I'm just so thankful for my mother. My mother has been so helpful. Well, she's been helpful throughout our lives, but particularly I want to thank my mother for extending herself to provide care and supervision and love and support to my son for a month. This is my mother's birthday month. And I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm not going to say what number it is. If she'd like to share that, she can. But, you know, I'm just so thankful that, you know, my mother is still here with us and, you know, and that she's healthy. And, you know, I pray God continue to provide her good health. That's it.
I'll be 80 years old the 20th of this month.
Wow. Yeah, I find that really hard to believe, Connie.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I want to look like Connie when I get 80 years old.
Oh, yeah.
So you're a Leo.
Yes, all the way.
Who'd have thunk?
Mommy,
No wonder you and Melba are two peas in a pod. You're both Leos,
that's true.
lionesses for sure.
I like to say, ask for prayers for my daughter Nas, for her to continue her health to be good as it can be with MS, and I'm hoping that they can find she needs assisted living or something of that nature, and I'm hoping that some type of housing will come through and soon, maybe in another year or so, and for her to stay as healthy as she possibly can. She's doing pretty good so far, you know.
Is she on clinical trials?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's chemo actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you never know what your body's gonna do when you get it, you know. So you have to get it and then sort of wait and see what happens. And so it's
Now she's doing the infusions.
yes,
Mhm.
6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rituxan, I think it's called. Yeah.
Oh no, Shante, as I'm hearing that word fusion, I know you're not gonna see it, but behind you, I'm into light healing. You've got a spectacular infused light on your wall behind you that's just contracting and growing. And as you speak, I feel like everything is gonna be okay. Step by step, have faith, have hope. And you've got a strong light infusing in you right now. That's what I see.
Wow. Thanks, Miss Dorothy. Thank you. That's helpful. I feel like, you know, I work in my office here. Well, this is the garage. You can't tell, but it's a garage, and I made it into my office. I call it the lady lounge. And so I have the garage door open sometimes, most of the time during the day while I'm working. I have curtains up here, but I can see through the curtains. This little hummingbird comes to visit me every day, and it's so. He comes in, he's not outside. He comes in at the door and he hovers there, and I'm like, oh, hello, little bird. And then he flutters away. But it's been happening like consistently. And I'm like, is that my little spirit guy or something telling me?
Definitely.
You know?
You're covered. You are very covered.
So
Because
different.
hummingbirds don't really like people. They're very skittish of people.
Yes, they are. They're very shy. There's like any movement they move, you know, I'm like, so I don't move. I just say, hello again, you know. It's so maybe
But the
it's
more
gonna be spirit
purified you are, they'll come right to you. I've seen them float right in people's faces and hover. So we keep purifying ourselves. The animals are coming closer and closer and closer.
It's very nice. He startles me sometimes, but then I just, you know, when I say, oh, hello, but it's really something. So thank you for seeing that and telling me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mary Wallace.
I'm on mute.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're on
Good
mute.
morning, Trish. Everybody.
Yes, good morning. I'm definitely thankful to have my mother here, just like Trisha, and it's been such a blessing. And you know, I know so many folks, probably many on this call, don't have their parents with them, and you know, I definitely feel very blessed to have her. And I just wanted to prayer request for Melba, and this week got a little trying for me because literally in back-to-back days, I had 3 people, including Melba, on social media who were fully vaccinated saying they had COVID. And so just prayer for those who are, you know, in the recovery mode of COVID, and then prayer for those who are still debating the vaccine and are hesitant, as you know, their coverage with the vaccine is going to help all of us that are vaccinated. And if, you know, if there's anyone on the call, I know I did a little church with my home church, the Park Church, this morning as well. And, you know, as he said, it's, you know, the vaccination isn't only about us individually, it's about all of us collectively. And so just prayerful for those who are still making that decision, that they really think about, you know, themselves. And I think a friend of ours, you know, texted us this morning that her sister-in-law, the daughter of the sister-in-law, and a 7-year-old have COVID as well. So
the daughter decided not to get the vaccination.
Right, she wouldn't get the vaccine.
She's in the hospital, yeah.
And she's in the hospital. So just prayer for coverage of this, and that, you know, folks think a little bit more and, you know, make that decision for all of us. Thank you.
Yeah, now's not the time to be selfish. It's about all of us together. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we definitely want to lift up Melba and her husband Larry, because they both have the Delta variant and they've both been vaccinated. So even the vaccinations, it can, help it from getting, becoming the worst. But, we really need that herd immunity and for everybody to come together as a community and get vaccinated for sure. Any other joys or celebrations?
I
Or
would
prayer requests?
like to lift up my uncle because him and my aunt just celebrated their anniversary and he just figured out that he has cancer. So he has to go across, I think he's going to Atlanta to get chemotherapy, and they just celebrated their anniversary. So that's kind of a lot on her with them celebrating their first year. So I would just ask that y'all lift them up in your prayers, that they do cure him, even though we know that's not really reachable sometimes.
Really well, thank you.
Yeah.
Where's everyone else, Liz? They're on vacation?
Some people might be on vacation. Some people might just be, we have a lot of folks that watch the recording afterwards. And I'm sorry for folks who were waiting on the recording last weekend, but I have to thank Thomas and Ashanti for being such good sports. The recording malfunctioned, so we had to re-record everything.
Yeah.
So
technology is good when it works.
Yes, yeah. So a lot of folks watch the recordings. Yeah. So whoever's watching this later, hello.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool because I got to sing the U2 song a couple of times.
You rocked it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take another moment or so, and do as you feel so moved. If you pray, if you want to meditate, sit and do as you are so moved for the next minute or so, thinking about all the joys and concerns that we've shared. Amen. All right. Next up, we have Thomas Hanson with The Lord Works in Mysterious Ways.
Part A.
Hey, Thomas.
I want to recap Part B. Basically, I was a statistical engineer for Corning for over 30 years, working in field of optical fiber. Optical fiber is what makes our telecommunications system work. I started in 1977 in the pilot plant in Corning, moved to Wilmington and factory. This is part of the startup team, and spent 5 years in Wilmington. Wound up as a QC supervisor. He sent me back to Corning as a project engineer, and I solved some very thorny problems. My daughter was later told that I had saved the plant, and by virtue of that, I also saved the cable plant in Hickory. I spent the last half of my career basically doing international standards. So I traveled everywhere in the world just about, except Antarctica. They don't have meetings down there. But I was in Kyoto in 2008 when I got a very strong signal that I should take an early retirement. My wife went into a diabetic coma. And so I did. And I took care of her until she went into hospice on June 6th, 2019. Part A is the story of how I got there. And I've been thinking about this, how to tell this story all week. I graduated from high school in 1970. I'll be 70 on the second day of Kwanzaa this year, which makes me a Capricorn. Our high school, I was the first graduating class in a new high school, and was also the first graduating class to be integrated with the Catholic students. The Catholics had parochial schools for 100 years before then. And remarkably, the new high school was big enough for both of us. So someone had actually done some planning. Amazing. Growing up, I had a lot of jobs. I was a paper boy. I was a snow shoveler. In Iowa, where I'm from, Northwest Iowa, we get a lot of snow. And usually it drifts, so it can be 3 feet deep. I was a carpenter's helper. I was a mason's helper. I was a welder's helper. I was a house painter. My grandma taught me how to putty. And that turned out to be real important because I painted a lot of houses. I was almost killed on the job as a welder's helper. And so they fired me, and I spent the rest of that summer after my junior year as a house painter. I got the jobs because I knew how to putty. I said, I'll go ahead and putty your windows while I'm up there. And after my senior year, my dad got me a job with a construction crew in Southwest Wisconsin, building grain bins. And the crew was at a camp on the side of a lake about 5 miles away from a little town. And Wisconsin was an 18-year-old state, which means 18-year-olds could go to a bar. So Saturday night, we went to the bar. And I got too drunk, but the crew abandoned me about 5 miles. This is like 11:30 at night, dark. And I had been to the camp, been to the little town from the camp once, and never from the town to the camp. So I was all alone in the dark. I started walking where I thought I should go. And I went the right way because I found the camp again. But along the way, a big black dog came running out and asked me what I'm doing. And I said, oh, I'm trying to find my way home. The dog said, I hope you do too, and dismissed me, walked away. Well, the crews thought it was real funny. I got in about daylight. I didn't think it was funny, so I quit. Went back to Emmitsburg and painted more houses. When I went to college, I was really unprepared for college mentally. I started out as a drama major and got very poor grades. I mean, 0.4. Found out you really have to take the test if you want to get the grades. Duh. But there were some tough times. There was demonstrations against the Vietnam War, turned into riots. And Blackie's Raiders came over from the next city, Davenport, to put everyone back in place. They came in with riot gear and tear gas and guns. I saw them dragging people down the road by their hair. It was not pleasant. My next door neighbor, my dormitory, his great grandfather came from Emmitsburg. And in fact, one of the big parks in Emmitsburg is named after his great grandfather. So he was a big, a big guy. Well, my neighbor's dad was a professor at the university in Iowa City. And so this guy went to school at U High. Well, U High was filled with a bunch of people who were more mature than anyone else in terms of they did marijuana and stuff like that. So that was my introduction to marijuana. And I liked it. I won't kid you. I also found about LSD. But before I took any LSD, I went down to the university library and did some research. Found out some interesting things. It was actually developed for treatment of migraine headaches. And one of the reasons it got a bad rap was the US Army did experiments on people with LSD without telling them. So people's minds started to get crazy and they thought that they were, you know, something terrible was wrong with them and they'd commit suicide, some of them. So the US Army really did some nasty things in those days, including Vietnam War. But so I proceeded to mess up. The second semester I went in as a psych major. And I didn't like that because they made you participate in psych experiments, which usually involve pain. I found out one experiment where they had a bunch of chimpanzees that were given electric shocks at random times and random durations. Half of the chimpanzees were given a device to turn off the pain. The others weren't. Well, the chimpanzees that could turn off the pain got ulcers and developed, you know, other problems. They were jumpy, you know, distracted, easily distracted, maybe have PTSD, I don't know. But the ones that could turn it off had no problem. Or the ones that did not have a means of turning it off had no problem. That lesson was an important lesson going forward through life. The first summer in Iowa City, well, let me go back. One of my friends that I've encountered in Iowa City is a guy named Carlson. One Saturday afternoon, he suggested that I go down and take some tests and see if I could pass out of anything, which I did. And it was about 5 hours or 6 hours of taking tests. Later, I found out I passed out of 28 semester hours. That's a lot. And when it's 2 semesters a year. So the first summer in Iowa City, Carlson and me and a guy named Shannon got an apartment, and I proceeded to encounter all kinds of, I'll call them lowlifes, con man and his son traveling around trying to gyp people out of money, some people on hard drugs. I proceeded to really mess up. At the end of the summer, Carlson's dad came and took him away and sent him down to Emporia, Kansas to work at Iowa Beef Packers. His dad was an exec for Iowa Beef. Shannon went back to live with his mom, and I stayed in Iowa City. There was no place to go back to. There was nothing to do in Emmitsburg. That was in 1971. Went back to school in 1972 as a business major, and living in a dorm again. One morning, spring morning, I woke up and there was a guy in my room with a gun at my head. His name is Steve. Steve is a gangster. And he wanted to know where Jimmy and Jerry were. Well, Jimmy and Jerry were hardcore drug users. They were addicts. And I hadn't seen Jimmy and Jerry for months. And I was very serious with Steve. I did convince him that I didn't know where they were, but apparently they had stolen some drugs from the wrong organization. Well, I thought about this for a while. I didn't know how Steve knew that I knew Jimmy and Jerry. I didn't know how Steve knew where I was in the dormitory. and I decided to color myself gone. So I went down to the administration, said I was dropping out again, and hitchhiked to Emporia. I had maybe $40 in my pocket and the clothes on my back. I got to Emporia, and my first job I got was hauling asphalt. They were building I-35. But that was not a good job because the inspector came out every morning, and if it even had a hard due, you weren't going to drive. So if you didn't deliver any loads, you didn't get any pay. Not a good deal. I got myself a job at Iowa Beef Packers as a night cleanup. And night cleanup, I come in about an hour before the afternoon shift was done and pick up boxes and stuff. And so I got to watch how the factory worked. And in the Iowa Beef packing plant, the meat pieces were on moving tables, conveyor belts, and the guys that had one cut or two cuts as the meat came by, and at the end of the conveyor belt, it was all done. Well, there are two halves to the meat plant. One was what they call the kill side, and one was the processing side. The kill side had live cows coming in, and that's where Carlson worked. He worked day shift and I worked night shift, so we hardly ever saw each other. But I really liked how the factory worked. It was a big machine. Everything was planned out. Really appealed to me. Another thing I did a lot of in Emporia was go to this park, Peter Pan Park. It was dedicated to Mary White, who was killed in a weird horse accident in the mid-1920s. Her dad was William A. White, the editor of the Gazette, the newspaper in Emporia. And reading her obituary was one of the required readings when I was in high school. So I liked going there. And it was the confluence of two rivers, the Cottonwood River and the Neosha River. And where the rivers came together, there was turbulence, continual turbulence of different patterns and shapes. And you can't really call it random, but it really was random. So that got me interested in random stuff and statistics. Well, eventually I made some stars, and some of you have my stars. There's one right up here ahead of me. In January of 1973, I made a star. I made two of them actually. And it convinced me that I should go back to school as a math major. So I did. But of course, I gave one of the stars to a girl that lived in Long Island in Far Rockaway. I thought I liked her, but she didn't like me. So I went back to Emmitsburg and painted more houses before I went back to school. I graduated from college with a BS in 1975. So considering I graduated from high school in 1970 and all the stuff that I did in between, it's amazing that I graduated in 1975. I was grooving. I mean, math is my place. And after that, I went to Ames, Iowa, to go to Iowa State University and take statistics. I worked in the stat lab for a couple of years before I was graduating from that with an MS. Corning came to Ames to interview people who were prospective workers. They came and interviewed me, and before they went back to Corning, they made me an offer. So I went to working for Corning. I started in June 6, 1977. And the rest is history. That's it.
Wow. So you just had such an interesting lifetime. I'm taking it all in.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
You're welcome.
So
A lot of weird stuff. I read all of O. Henry and most of Mark Twain while I was in high school. And the parade of characters that I've encountered reminds me a lot of O. Henry stories.
well, that is very interesting how you found your way to the math. I find that interesting, Thomas. You didn't know that right away, huh?
Well, I was always so good at math in high school that it made my friends mad because they'd study for it and study for it and study for it. And I said, oh, do we have a test today? You know, okay. It made them mad.
So the lesson is, it's all right, it's cool to be smart, right, Thomas?
Yes, it is.
Well,
Wow.
it has its good sides and its bad sides.
Mostly good though.
Yeah, and Thomas, we're kindred spirits. I have a bachelor's in math and a master's in statistics.
Wow.
Who's this one?
This is Cynthia.
Oh, Cynthia.
Yeah, and I know that I've
cool.
known a few people that went to that Iowa State program too. It's a really strong statistics program.
Yeah, I also learned how to program in Fortran there.
Yeah, that's why I learned programming in my master's class as well.
Well, got some similarities.
I know. If you have me free time, I could use some work with my new rule project. I do too much analysis myself. I could use some help.
Well, we'll talk maybe. I am finding my new life step by step.
And that's what it's about. Step by step. That's part of the journey. And that's a perfect ending to my segue for the song, I Stand on Your Word. Hope you like it. No matter what situation, I believe. No matter what the circumstances, I believe. I stand on your word. I stand on your promise. I stand on your word. I stand on your promise. My soul says yes. My soul says yes. Even when my faith gets weary, I believe. For I know that you will answer. I believe. I stand on your word. I stand on your promise. I stand on your word. I stand on your promise. My soul says yes. My soul says yes to your will, to your way. I will trust and obey to your will, to your way. I will trust and obey. I stand on your word. I stand on your promise. I stand on your word. I stand on
Awesome. Awesome. Thank
song.
you.
So pretty.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Hope that moved you. Hope that resonated.
Yes.
with you.
Yes.
Hope you could hear the music. I turned it down for the meditation, and then this song was a different level, so I hope you could hear the music too. Okay, so now I believe it's time for the benediction. Is that right, Liz? Am I right on time? All right, the benediction is, may we leave this place seeking an uncharted and freely chosen journey to wholeness, knowing we have companions along the way. Go in peace. Ashe.